we went through a whole bunch of titles. 4Play was, of course, on the list.
Very high on the list, by the way.
I suggested Fiends with Benefits, Bros Before Foes, yes. And my personal favorite was Multiple Organisms.
Yeah. We'll go there.
Which the good news is actually an issue of the comics named that because that was my favorite too. But at the end of the day, I think we didn't want to scare off the parents that might be buying the game for their kid, so we went with All for One.
Yes, but anyone who doesn't think that we didn't seriously consider 4Play, we very seriously consider 4Play.
We do. We take it very seriously here.
Yeah, that's true.
Or something.
Hi. Obviously, there's a lot of weapons in Ratchet and Clank, or a lot of enemy types and stuff. What are your inspirations behind some of those things?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, we have a group that is really into brainstorming as a team, and we can sit down when we're starting something new, just grab 10 or 15 people, get together in a room, and knock out 10 new ideas. And sometimes it can come from function, like something that we want to do in the game that we think would be really fun to play. Sometimes it's more thematically driven, like maybe it's a certain visual style that we want to hit. These ideas really come from all over. I mean, the main thing to say is that it's very collaborative, so these great ideas come from all over, and then everybody really gets behind executing them to make them fun to play after we get the kernel of an idea in play for the game.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
My question was regarding level design. Do you guys have any challenges with making levels for one person and 4 people? Just sort of the differences between someone who's playing with an AI versus 4 buddies playing together.
Yeah, we do, but I want to say it's one of those things that we knew we'd have to take on very early on. So I feel like we developed a really rich system for handling that really kind of early in production, and that's kind of helped us through. I mean, we scale for 1 to 4 players to make sure that the experiences are good for any player configuration.
And that's something that comes up all the time when designers are pitching ideas. I mean, one of the first questions, they probably want to punch me sometimes, but one of the questions we'll ask is, well, does it scale? What happens with 2 players? What happens with 3 players? What is it like solo? And then the other one we ask is like, is there something for everybody to do? And so that's the kind of challenge that we've embraced as a company doing this kind of project. Like it's a lot. That's a great challenge for a lot of these things.
Cool. Thank you,
Captain.
Whoa. It's awesome.
What's up?
My question was with Nefarious being the villain of the previous game. How does it work with them working together now, or is that revealed within the story?
Well, the setup involves all 4 being forced basically to work together in order to survive and get through this alien planet, discover what the planet is all about, discover why all these monsters have been essentially kidnapped and brought and dumped there, including them, by the way. So it's almost out of necessity that Nefarious has to help them, but he's very grudging. We want to make sure that every step of the way he's not happy about helping them. They're not skipping through the planet holding hands. Like he is very upset about his situation, and there may be 1 or 2 developments along the way that we don't want to give away that involve just what kind of character Nefarious is.
All right, and just to confirm something else, this is a direct sequel to the previous game, or is it more of a side story?
No, this is. I would consider this a direct sequel, canon-wise.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
Hi. My question is about Captain Quark. Considering how popular he is, and Up Your Arsenal, he had his own mini game. Is there any chance you guys would do something like that, like a downloadable content game?
You
like
never
PSA
know.
Title?
You never know.
You never know. I would if there was one, I would love to write it.
It was fun playing side scroller.
Yeah, and we had My Blaster Runs Hot, which was it was awesome to actually see that happen, because that started out as just a commercial that I wrote that I thought would be funny, and people loved it and made this really cool minigame in a crack of time. So I mean, if it happens, I'd love to be on it.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I was wondering, after the PS2 era with like Up Your Arsenal, you guys really didn't do any multiplayer Ratchet and Clank. What was it like going back and doing one on the PS3 rather than not having any sort of multiplayer content on the previous 2 future games?
Well,
go ahead. Go.
I mean, a lot of the reason why we did that is like what we found is that people really dug Resistance multiplayer, and so we felt like we wanted to really focus our attention on on that, developing that over time. So like when we were putting this game together, luckily we had a lot of stuff that we could pull from, you know, our shared technology coming in here. There are some things that we've had to change, but we've been able to, you know, use a lot of like existing stuff that we got from Resistance. And for what it's worth, a lot of the stuff that we use on Resistance came out of the PS2 Ratchets.
So unfortunately, we only have time for one more question after this, but all of you folks in line, please come up first and grab swag. Plus, we are going to go outside, so you can come up and ask us more questions if you want after the panel, but we only have time in the panel for one more question. I apologize for that. But please, all you guys behind him, go up, grab some swag right now, and then we can talk to you outside more. Last question.
Hi, my question is about player skill. So with something co-op, especially something online co-op, how are you going to, like, how are you going to accommodate for the variances in player skill?
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes I like to play with people who are, you know, don't play video games a lot. So I don't want to feel like I'm kind of just babysitting them, or they feel like I'm babysitting them. So how are you going to accommodate that?
That's a great question, and it's very important to us to accommodate players with varying skill sets. You can play, you know, as a parent with a younger person. You can play as, you know, as 4 people of the same age. You know, 2 people who are similar age. Like all that is supported by us with configuration up front. So, you know, if you let the game know what the play group is like, we kind of do some things to make it work for different players and different skill levels for sure.
And we've tested this stuff too.
I mean, we play test rigorously to make sure it's gonna work
I mean,
like
we've
that.
seen like exactly these groups, and you know, we'll adjust accordingly.
Right.
All right, guys, thank you so much. You know,
And
Chad,
everyone, a big
Sean.
hand for Adam Sessler for coming in. We appreciate him coming, taking credit for us.
All right, but thank you guys. And yes, fall 2011, Ratchet Clank All for One.
Fall 2011.
Thanks for coming, everyone. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.